Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm very excited because I have a very exciting topic to talk about today. But if it's your first time here, my name is Abigail Vierstadt. Thanks for coming. If it's your second time or if you have been here before, thanks for coming again. Please do subscribe to this channel and please like, please leave a comment and please share if you can. In today's video, I will actually be talking about very important topics. If you're young and if you're still trying to chase your dream as a flight attendant or any other career that you'd like to go on, I will be sharing today my experience, how I became a flight attendant. So basically, I have flown or I have worked or still working with two major airlines in the world, and I am actually very proud of myself. So yeah, kudos to me. But yeah, if you are looking to go on this journey, or if you're looking to start this career, then I think that the first thing that I will talk about today is having a plan. So basically, I do think that a lot of people do send me messages or ask me, how do I become a flight attendant for this company or that company? How do I get my dream job? But then they are not working towards it, or they do not have a plan. So if I do remember back then, maybe I was 18 years. I was 18 and I knew that I wanted to be a flight attendant. I mean, you don't have to be very young to know that you want to be a flight attendant. Some people knew it when they were kids. Some people knew it just when they were grown up. Some people just knew it just, by chance. So for me, at the age of 18, I knew that I wanted to be a flight attendant, and I knew which airline that I wanted to work with. So that's another thing, that you need to say, okay, this is the airline I want to work with, and then you have to work towards it. So I knew which airline that I wanted to work with, and I was so crazy, and I was willing to go any extent to go or to reach this dream, So I remember that one time, actually I was going on all the websites of the airline that I wanted to fly with. I had a couple in mind, so I was going on all the websites, and then I was checking, and most of the airlines that I wanted to fly with were like, the age was beginning at 21 and I was 18, so which means I had to wait for like 3 years to be able to join. But anyway, I was still registering, and I was never getting called, or I was never getting an interview or whatsoever. So yeah, I was still applying, but then during this time I was reading about the job, what the job entails, or what the job comes with, what is required of me on the job, what I have to do, what is it going to take, So yeah, I remember that I took a book and I was writing down all of these things. So there is one thing that usually I think that most young people do forget, or they do not think about, especially when it comes to trying to go on their way of being a flight attendant. I mean, it's not only about traveling the world. It is beautiful. I have loved it, and I'm so grateful for this experience. But that is not the only thing you should have in your mind, that, oh, I want to travel because I just want to fly around the world. I want to, it's a job that really entails a lot. That not think that this job is all about traveling and I just want to travel the world and I just want to have fun. I just want to see other countries. If this is the main reason why you want to be a flight attendant, then maybe you should take a rethink about it. I mean, it is exciting. You get to travel, you get to meet new people, and it's very, very exciting. But one of the things also is that this job requires a lot from you. I mean, physically, mentally, whatsoever, it does require a lot from you. So for me, the first time was not easy. I didn't get in on my first try. Some people are lucky they get in on their first try. Some people are lucky they get in on their second try. Some people, I know people who have tried to be flight attendants and they have been going for recruitment like crazy. I know people have attended like 8 or 7 or 6 interviews before they got in the job. So everybody is different. It does not mean that one person is better than the person, or you're not good enough, that's why you're not getting in on the first try. You know, every recruiter does have a requirement that they follow when they're choosing. So maybe on that day you are just not on your best behavior, or maybe the recruiter was not on their best moods or whatsoever. So yeah, so I tried the first time. I didn't get in, and that was in Ghana. And from that point I was thinking, this is something that I really want and I'll do anything for it. So for me personally, I traveled all the way to Egypt. So I was staying in Egypt for about 9 months. Yes, it was a very exciting journey. I went there alone. It was my first time in Egypt. And I do remember that when I went to Egypt, I think it was winter. I was in January, and it was winter, January 2015. And it was winter, and I had this short skirts, and I had like a normal top on, and I had no clue. I did not check what the weather was like or whatsoever. I just went. And then when I went there, it was crazy. But then I managed to find my way out, finally sorted myself out in a hotel, and I got a job there. So I was working in Egypt for a while with Vodafone Ireland as an international account advisor, whilst I was still waiting to try with the airline that I wanted to work with. One thing also is that you do not have to travel, or, you know, don't think, oh, you have to travel to another place. The only disadvantage is that most of the airlines are not coming to Ghana to recruit as often as they go to other countries. So I cannot tell, but then it's not really necessary that you have to travel. You can use this time to prepare. I mean, they do come to Ghana to recruit once in a while, so you can use this time to prepare. When they come, I mean, you're ready, you know. But if you have the means of traveling, then also it's a good thing. You can give it a try. And basically what I just want to say is, you just need to be determined. You need to know what you want, and you need to go after it. If you do not know what you want, you will keep saying, I want to be this, I want to be that. Or you'd keep saying, oh, she looks beautiful in that, I want to do that job. But then you would never get it because you don't have a plan, or you're not determined. So some of the tips that I would give today is, especially answering to the people who are always asking me, how do they become flight attendant? Please read on the job. Please know what it entails and what it requires from you. I have been through a process of being with 2 major airlines, and I know that it's not easy. So I would say that you should read about it. You should know what it entails, what the job requires from you, and then you're prepared for it. Most people ask, do you need to know different languages to be able to join as a flight attendant? No, you do not. As far as you do know English, you do understand, and if you can read English, then you're good to go. Most airlines do hire, so they do hire from other countries. So if you're going to Serbia, to France, different countries, so those people do usually have people who speak these languages, who speak French or speak Spanish or speak, you know, Serbian or whatsoever, like different language. So you do not really, except that sometimes when they're recruiting, they would ask specifically that they want this nationality, but most of the time, 98% of the time, you do not require a second language. As far as you speak English, as far as you understand, as far as you can read it, you're good to go. Another question also that I do get asked is if you need to have a special training or a special certification to be able to be a flight attendant, and the answer is no, you do not need any special certification. After high school, I went to School of Aviation, but my study was not a flight attendant, or my study was not on cabin crew. After high school, I went to School of Aviation, Global Institute of Aviation, which was in Accra. I cannot remember exactly where, but I just did a couple of months course, and this was even on travel and tourism was what I studied. So it was not like the job of a cabin crew, but I wanted to get myself ready. I wanted to be in the travel industry, so that's why I went for this. But most of the airlines do not require that you have a cabin crew training certification. What you need, the basic thing that if you do have it, it's a plus. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's not a requirement. The minimum requirement that you do need is a high school certificate. So if you have completed high school, that certificate is enough to get you to be a flight attendant. You have to be smart as well, but that certification is enough to get you to be a flight attendant. So the minimum requirement is a high school certificate. Another question also that I do get asked is what is the age? I think I talked about this before, but most of the airlines requires the age of, I think most of the Middle East airlines are looking at 21. Most of the European airlines are looking from the age of 18. So first you need to know which airline you want to work with. You need to check their requirements, and that is when you would know what age you need to be able to join an airline. Also, another question that I do get asked is if you have to travel, if the airline hires you, do you have to pay money to travel or whatsoever? So no, if you are traveling to recruit to be a flight attendant, that is on you. Your travel expenses is on you. But once you're hired, you do not need to buy your own ticket to travel to the country. Like, let's say you're moving to Dubai, you do not need to buy a ticket from Ghana to Dubai to join as a flight attendant. Usually the airline will give you a ticket, and usually also when you arrive to wherever that you're going, the airline will house you. They will give you a place to stay. They would give you an allowance. There will be transportation. So you know that you're. Another question also that I do get asked is if you need to be a certain weight or if you need to be a certain height to be a flight attendant. The truth is every job has a requirement. So even if you're going to work in the banking sector, they do have a requirement on what you need to be or what you need to have, what certification that you need to have in able to be a banker or whatsoever that you want to be. It's the same with being a flight attendant. So if you want to be a flight attendant, there is a height requirement, and I'm not going to give any specific height requirement, but most of the airlines have this on their website. So if you check on the airline that you want to work with, if you check on the website, you will be able to see the height requirement. Also, there is a weight requirement. So usually your height must be proportional with your weight. So there is something called the BMI, which is the body mass index, which usually I think you have to add your height and your weight, or you have to multiply something like this, and then you need to have a minimum BMI, or you need to have a maximum BMI to be able to join. This is not because the airline is looking for skinny models or things like that. It's just for safety reasons. And I have actually seen people who were a little bit overweight and it was fine, they were still flying. So as far as your body mass index is fits in the requirements of the airline, you should be good to go. And if you're not there, you can train yourself to be there. If you want to be a flight attendant, you think, oh, I do not fit in the body mass index, I need to work out. And if it's your dream, then you really have to go for it. I always say that, you know, if you have your mind on something, if you think this is what I want, then you should always go for it. I knew what I wanted, and I left Ghana. I went to Egypt for the first time. I went to a country that I have never been there before. I didn't know even one single person. I went there. I stayed there just to achieve my dreams. You know, for me, it's a big thing. I had not traveled to stay somewhere alone before. So for me, it's a very big thing. And I ended up staying there for 9 months before I got my dream job. And then I moved to Dubai. So what I want to say with this is, if this is what you want, if you think this is your dream, if you think this is something that I love, then you should go for it. Stop asking questions all the time. It's good to ask questions. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's really good to ask questions, but don't let it be the barrier. Like, you just ask questions and that's it. You have to work towards it, else you will never achieve that dream. Another question also that I do get asked a lot of times is, what is the stage like? So if you want to be a flight attendant, do you just go for an interview, or what is the stage like? What do you go through and all of that? So usually there is something called an open day, and there is something called an assessment day. Usually there are 4 stages. But let me just talk about the first one. So usually airlines have open days and assessment days. Open days usually means that you can just walk in and you can give them your CV. For me, I'm not a professional, this is just what I think, that with the open day, the recruiter gets to see you, gets to have a glimpse of what you look like, or get to have a perception about you. And then they can choose, okay, you have to go to the next stage, or no, maybe you have to try again another time. So usually on the open day, there is a recruiter sitting down, and you will take your CV, you would walk in and you will take it to them. And yeah, they will let you know if you pass for the next stage or you didn't pass for the next stage, and if you have to try again. If you have to try again, keep doing it. I believe that the more you try, the better you get. So if you have tried before and you didn't make it, don't give up. There are tons of people, tons of flight attendants that I have flown with, I know, who tried tons of times. They tried 10 times, 8, 7 times, first time, second time. So yeah, don't give up. And another question also that I do get asked is, I mean, to talk about the assessment day. So if you did pass, some airlines do the open day, which you give your CV, and then they tell you if you pass for the assessment day or not. Some of them also go straight from, they do not do the open day, so they do just the assessment day. So usually if that is what's going to happen, which means that they do the first stages of looking at the CV through the internet. So which means that you apply online, and the recruiters will have a look at the CV online, and then they will decide to invite you for an assessment day. So I think your CV does play a major role, especially if you're applying online. Some people apply online and they never get an invitation. I applied online, I never got an invitation. So it's, I don't know, from what I read, it's a computerized thing and it's picked somehow. So I don't know how it goes, but don't feel bad if you don't receive an email for an assessment day. But yeah, so there is the assessment day. During the assessment day, usually it takes a full day, so you could take the whole of your day if you have an assessment day. So what goes on the assessment day is usually there is the reach test. So as I said, every airline requires you to have a certain height. The reason for having the height is, you know, there are different types of aircraft. So So usually, yeah, the airline do have a height requirement, and for safety reasons, you would need to be on that height to be on a certain aircraft, you know. So once you get there, they would confirm on the assessment day. They would check on your height to see if you reach the minimum height that they require. If they do see that you do reach that height, then you will pass on to the next stage. The next stage is usually the English and the math test. So it's a written test that you have to do on a paper. Usually it's not hard. People ask, is it hard? The test is not hard. It's just basic maths and it's just normal English. I think mostly it's on tenses and meaning of certain English words. So it's not really hard. It's very easy just to test your knowledge. So it's very easy maths questions, multiplication, addition. So once you finish that, if you pass, then you go to the next stage, which is the group discussion, where you would have groups and then you will be given topics to discuss. In this stage is what usually the recruiter is looking at is how you communicate with people or how you work as in a team. So if you're flying and you're on a flight, every day you're meeting new flight attendants online. You're flying every day with different flight attendants. You will be working with people from different nationalities who you have never met or you don't know. If you're fortunate, you might fly with somebody you have met before, but most of the time you're flying with people you do not know. So the reason for doing this group assessment is that usually you see that the recruiter goes around and she takes notes. So she's looking at how you communicate with people, how you involve other people, how you work as a team. So I think that in this stage you need to involve everybody, you need to talk to everybody, you need to be into what you're doing, so they know that, yeah, you work in a team or you can work in a team. So after that stage, if you do pass, then you do have the final interview, which is the one-on-one with the recruiter. Usually a lot of people are asking me what happens in the one-on-one interview with the recruiter. What are some of the questions that they are asking? So the thing is, usually it's everything that's on your CV and your experience. It's nothing out of this. So if you took your CV and you said, this is where I worked or this is where I've been working, they're just going to ask you, so how long were you working here? Tell me about your experience. Did you have any issue that you had to resolve? Or so basically you're just talking about your own experiences. And if it's something that you have put on your CV, then it's something that you know about and you should be able to talk about. So it's nothing very hard. You know, they could ask you, why do you want to have the job? What is the reason? Just be yourself. Talk about why you want to be a flight attendant, and you should be okay. So what happens is that after the one-on-one interview, this is not the decision of the recruiter to say you're selected or you got the job. Usually the recruiter has to take all the documents, every answers that you have given, they have to write them down or they have to type it down, and they need to take it to the headquarters of the airline, and there is a group of people who look at the answers or who look at the pictures and they decide, okay, we think that this person is qualified, or we think we want to have this person. So yeah, basically that's it. If you do have any other questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I will be very happy to answer them. But yeah, if it's your dream to be a flight attendant or whatsoever, please don't let anything stop you. Don't think you're not good enough. Don't think that you're not beautiful enough. I think that the most common things that you have to be is somebody who has empathy, because you'll be dealing with people, and if you do not have empathy, you cannot do this. You cannot feel for people and you will not be able to assist them when it's needed. So I think that you need to be a very proactive person. You need to be somebody with empathy, somebody who is always willing to help, and these are points that you should touch on when you go on your interview, you know. So once you have these things, I I think that you're good to go. So guys, if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comment section below. I will be excited to answer them. Okay, there are still a lot of topics that I would like to talk about, but I'm very tired, and usually when I talk for a very long time I just run out of breath. So this will be what I will be talking about today. But if you do have any other ones, please leave them in the comment section below, or go on my Instagram DM, Mrs_living my dream, because I'm living my dream. And please do live in my DM. I do usually most of the time answer to everybody in my DM. So be my friend, send me a message, and please let me know what you think. If this video was helpful, please let me know. Please come back again. Please subscribe, please like, and please comment. Thank you for watching, and please take care. Stay safe.